The Amazing Spider-Man number 40 is what we're talking about, and it's written by Zeb Wells, pencils by John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna on inks, Marcel Menez on colors and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. I know that, lately, actually not even just lately, but the last bunch of years or so, it's not real cool to say that you like John Romita Jr.'s art. People end up kind of making fun of us because we like it. I actually like this issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of the better Spider-Man artists ever.
He has his own style. I think that he obviously is better on Spider-Man than, say, when he was on the DC stuff. In the DC stuff, he just didn't have the background and the history of doing them. I think that this is pretty cool. Though some of the side characters look a little wonky, but I don't mind. I think that it's really cool. And you do end up having a really cool cliffhanger. Those are the two things I like. Well, actually, three things, because I mentioned. I like some of the things with Tombstone. I like the art, and I like the cliffhanger. Kind of surprised me a little, though you said before we started, we should have kind of seen it coming.
We should have.
But that's what makes a good surprise, I think, where you see it, and it makes sense enough, and then we're like, oh, man, why didn't I see that?
Yeah.
I think Zeb Wells does a good way of almost telling you, but in a twisty way, because the Rose is part of this, and he keeps saying Fisk, Fisk, Fisk. Now, in that, there is no damn reason why Tombstone wouldn't say Wilson Fisk and get it all out, or Kingpin, right? But that's the play of it.
He's having some fun, I guess, messing with Spider-Man.
So you end up having Digger and the Rose starting out.
Good old Digger.
Good old Digger. I sat there, I'm like, oh, Vegas 13, what are you doing? He's such a weird guy, but I like it enough, and they're talking about what's going on, and it's a gang war, and it does even say, go back to the beginning of this run to see, and there was big stuff with the Rose coming back and things like that, so it works out. But in this, you're just going to be reminded again, I mean, really, the whole concept of what we've gotten already up till now is, hey, all hell is breaking loose, and all the gangs, whether they are named on the map or not, they're going to end up showing up and trying to get what's theirs, or try to steal what isn't. That's all it is. And so when you have this going, that's why I like Tombstone in this. At least we have somebody involved in the game. In the meantime, She-Hulk and Spider-Man, they're just trying to stop the city from being on fire. We need that inn, and the inn is Tombstone, because when this is going down, the Rose, who is pissed at Tombstone, tells his guys and Digger, hey, we're going to go, and I hear that Tombstone stuff being run by his daughter, Janice. Well, this is cool because he wants to get back at Tombstone. What better way than to take his territory and kill his daughter? So that's the big play. That's big. And okay, I'm interested a bit. I'll tell you still, I'm not like at the edge of my seat, gripped with all this tension and stuff over this story. I still am waiting for something to really get me in.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the cliffhanger. I mean, and it feels like it's not even like gang war that I'm excited about. It's just that, oh, Fisk is back and he's there with Spidey. He's there with those, but we'll see. But the big play is they're going to go kill Janice. Then we go off, and we were talking beforehand, the idea where, okay, what do we have going on, and do we have enough of a story for a whole issue? Or we should. We just started this, but out of nowhere, you just have Tombstone say, all right, I'm teamed up with you, Spider-Man. Let's go. And they go off and out of nowhere fighting the Tracksuit Mafia. And in this, it looks a little different. There's a little play here. And so you have the bro talk. You have the tracksuit. It doesn't even look exactly like the tracksuits.
The tracksuits are a little different, too, they're not as tracksuity.
I can't say that everyone in this gang are Russians. That's the play. But they might have been whittled down because of the Hawkeye stuff. And what we're talking about is the Hawkeye deal. And the funny thing of those, the Tracksuit Mafia is just the bro. And the idea that they were so just far into everything that they thought, they always had wacky ideas and stuff like that. And when they go in and Tombstone goes in with She-Hulk and Spider-Man, I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of funny. It's a kind of a funny callback, but not really. And then in the end, you're like, we wasted a big part of the middle of this issue with just Tombstone, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man fighting the Tracksuit Mafia, with the Tracksuit Mafia had shown up to take down the inner demons of Mr. Negative, but because of all that, they hear what's going on and they skedaddle, even though I think maybe they would get involved in the fight and take everybody out, but they leave, and he really didn't do much.
Mm-mm.
You didn't do much at all except maybe try to tell jokes. And like I said, the Tracksuit Mafia, they usually are just goofy. They're also pieces of crap. I mean, they are. But they always come off as kind of that goofy, not really a threat deal. So when you see them here, you don't really worry about anybody. But it's also jokes. It's also, jokes where you have Tombstone come in. He's like, hey, I'm back in the game, all these things. And the real big play is that he tells Peter, now that I've been seen with you, I'm screwed. Like, I can't ever do anything, which that's a big claim, especially for somebody as big as Tombstone. But,
I don't buy it.
The play, and again, you want to set up in this gang war, you have gangs going at each other. It's a gang war, it is. But you do need that big thing that everybody will want to go against, or that one, and it's Tombstone. If something happens to Janice, he's not going to care, whatever. He's going to try to destroy everyone. And if she does live, I think he still wants to destroy everyone and maybe give it all to Janice. So you do have that play where you do need that big, thing that everybody's going to go against with Peter, even, Spider-Man teaming up and whatnot. But in this, again, do we have to fill it out, this issue already with Tracksuit Mafia?
We got to see She-Hulk throw Spider-Man. That was pretty cool, I guess.
And you have that play, Zeb Wells wants to yuck it up. So when you end up where you have Tombstone come in, he ends up with and it's not even a good joke. He's like, sorry you got all dressed up. That's not that funny. Like, make something in the track deal. I don't know. Hey, you guys, you track. I can't come up with that. But Spider-Man repeats it, and then She-Hulk goes, oh, he already said that. I'm like, why would both?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It's not a good joke. And then he's like, oh, must not have been a good joke then. But they just run away. They end up, getting out of there. At one point, they're like blasting She-Hulk straight up with Uzis, and she's just running and crashing them. And then we just go from there to, and this is where I said, I think one of the best moments is where Tombstone says, I've been seen teaming up with you now. There's no way that any of these, crime heads will ever deal with me. I'm done. This whole play here is, in and out. I'm done. I'm not going to be able to live this life, and almost plays the idea like it's a suicide mission. Like, he doesn't even care if he dies here, but he wants to make sure that his daughter is okay. That's kind of what this whole play is for this issue. But then we go to Madame Mask downtown. She's there. Hammerhead is still like, the guy has to have bled out by now. He looks like he's still bleeding all this time.
He's a mess.
And she's kind of talking trash, but it's not really anything new. This is my problem with a lot of this issue, is it just ends up feeling like you're reiterating things that we have seen, or, vocalizing things that we know. The idea, she's like, oh, you treated me like crap. Hey, I want to come. I'm like, okay. And then, he goes, and it's supposed to be the play that he's grabbing for a gun, but he's actually grabbing for his phone. She stops him and then sees it's a phone and says, oh, yeah, call all of them. Call all your guys, because she's going to have this play here, is what she's going to end up doing. In the meantime, we go to Harlem and see Janice, White Rabbit. All of them are just around. And the big thing is, hey, we got to show, Diamondback, who's up. We're going to go after this guy. We're going to do this. So I think I'm going to show you this new costume. I'm like, it just looks weird. Like the idea
it's
that
like the helmet from Green Goblin in Spider-Man movie.
Look like that. Yeah. And it just,
weird.
We're getting these new costumes here. Yeah, it almost looks like a kabuki mask kind of, but I don't even know how to explain it. But here's what I would ask you. When she shows up, right, she goes to see, I'm going to go and talk with Diamondback, see what's up, and I'm going to take him down. I'm going to get my father's things back. Are they going to think she's somebody different?
Yes.
Because she's going to show up as, the Beetle anyway, but they're going to know it's her. Like, it doesn't matter. They're really like, oh, I see you got a new custom, but you're still Janice.
I mean, she'd have to take her mask off, I guess, or show his face, or say her name.
I think they realize that, like, she wants to get props for it as well. It's just odd to me.
I mean, if you told me it was bulletproof or made of adamantium or vibranium or something.
Why wouldn't her other outfit be, like, it seems more of an upgrade of, I have to look evil.
Scary.
Like, I'm stepping, I have to look scary.
In that case, then it's dumb.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you were just going to play the adamant, you would just use your regular and go. But it is kind of like, it's not very threatening. The Beetle deal. So she gets this. Just think it's kind of silly. remember, though, that the whole play here is that Tombstone said to take care of my dog. So we still don't know what's going on. You would assume that now it really does mean protect her.
Mhm.
We'll see how it goes. But while that's happening, all this stuff, again, we haven't really done much. We have a lot of people saying what they're going to do. Hey, I'm going to go and get back the stuff from Diamondback, and I got this new outfit. We end up having Tombstone, She-Hulk, and Peter. They go and they fight the Tracksuit Mafia and I don't even know what the whole play of that ever was anyway, because after that, they just go and they're sitting around. Tombstone says, we're going to wait here. They'll be after us. Fisk will be after us. Fisk will come for us. We just have to wait. And they're drinking it up.
Yeah, it was weird to see them drinking, I thought.
Yeah, they're like, let's get drunk while we're waiting, right? Because I'm telling you right now, the amount that he's poured into that one glass, I'm hammered. I don't drink.
Like
and I know for a fact, if I'm there, I would feel like I have to, because I wouldn't want to look, like a jerk in front of Tombstone. So I'd be like, all right. And I'd be hammered.
Stork pouring a drink.
Yeah, really. And they're just like, hey, Fisk is going to be here. He can drink too. I'd be passed out behind the bar. But they're there like, oh, we're going to get here. We're going to work this out. Fisk is going to be here. I screwed him over. Fisk. And I think that this is where we talk. Zeb Wells does a pretty cool deal, because when Fisk's name first comes up, you might start like, oh, man, we had at the beginning, we had the Rose, Fisk's son. So that's what he means. And that's where he gets that dupe. And I thought it was done pretty well, because they're waiting and keep saying, I don't care about anything but my daughter. I don't want my daughter to get hurt. I don't want my daughter to get hurt. I'm going to have Fisk come after me. All this going on. What we'll have then is that it is Wilson Fisk who comes to them while the Rose goes after Janice and, the Beetle. But in the meantime, in between them, we have Madame Mask, who's there and it's like, hey, all you guys, because Hammerhead's guys come. He ends up calling them. It's kind of a trap for them to come, but she wants to show she's in charge. Like, I like the idea when they come in, they're like, hey, where's the boss? You're looking at her. I'm the boss now. You're the boss. What do you mean by that? And then a weird play out of nowhere. I didn't think this was going to happen, but look up there, guys. And they look up and you have that dude that I still don't know that we're supposed to know. He has Nefaria and Silvermane's head. That's the best. And they throw him off the roof. Like, they just splat next to her. Silvermane, though, because he still ends up being able to talk.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a heart or anything, so...
Still, though, he has only one thing ahead, and that thing just bounced off the concrete.
Is he really alive?
Yeah, really. It's not much of a life. So
no.
Picks him up and says, hey, tell him. And hey, she's the leader now. And so you get that, and everybody's like, okay.
The thing about Madame Mask, though, that bothers me, I guess, is I don't even see her as a New York villain. She's a West Coast thing. I don't even know how she's involved. Same with Nefaria.
Seems like the play with her is that they treated her like such crap, and then we go to Janice, and when Janice goes to, face Diamondback, all that going down, you have that back and forth with Janice and Tombstone with this Fisk deal, and it is where Janice goes in and runs into, look at Digger, just looks like hell, and the Rose says, hey, you're trespassing on my property, as you end up with the cliffhanger that you have Mayor Fisk, you have Typhoid Mayor, they're all there. And that's cool to be back in the main swing. I got
some problems with it now I'm thinking about it, though, because there was so much with the Daredevil, ran him off, and he was dead or whatever, and his son took over. And he's doing X-Men stuff with Typhoid Mary.
I think it's just to get the hype back in here, and here he is.
But is it too soon, though? I mean,
I don't know. It's been a while. I just want him to be able to sign off that Fisk law. Even though he's not mayor anymore, maybe make him that. Make him the mayor for a day. He's like, Fisk law out. Then we can get that off the book. I think that maybe you're supposed to think, oh, crap. Like, what? But I think that he's there to team. You're going to have another person teaming up with Spider-Man. It'll be Tombstone, Fisk, because now Wilson Fisk, King, he's going to be mad because he wants to protect Butch, and then they're going to be mad at the Rose, and I just think that this is supposed to almost look like, oh my God, like, oh, this is going to be crazy. I think he'll team up with them as well. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's Chameleon in a fat suit.
Fat suit. You're fat shaming Wilson Fisk. I think that it's him. I think that this is just the play. We have to do something. I'm looking at the checklist. I mean, we have tons of issues still.
He does have the Hellfire goons with him, so I guess that's kind of tying in.
Yeah, so that's going to be his. And I mean, really, in this whole gang war, they need an army. That'll probably be that de facto army. Hey, we'll do this. Fisk will say, I'll team up with you right now, but then we won't be teamed up later. It'll be a crazy deal. And it's really at this point where Tombstone says, hey, I'll team up with you, but everybody's seen me now and I can't really go back to my deal. He'll know Peter, Spider-Man teaming up with Kingpin. That might be that almost like that idea as well. Like, I can't team up with Kingpin. Like, this is bad. But we'll see. We'll see how it is. But what would you give this?
I'd give this one a solid 7.5.
Now I'm a 7.5. I actually, the first time I read it, I was actually at an 8. Now that we go through it, you actually have to, verbalize the things. It's not much going on.
Yeah, and I'm the same as you on that.
Started, but this is the big book, and there's so many people in these gangs. I mean, there's tons of and then you add the Tracksuit Mafia for no reason. So when you have this going on, there might be just too much going on. Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science is the revolution.